money would come up in satsang occasionally.
Yes.
He never ever charged anything for his satsangs.
Himself, yes.
Ramana Maharshi never charged.
Yes.
And he always made a point of saying in satsang that if you start charging, immediately the whole satsang becomes corrupt.
Mm-hmm.
He said, as soon as money enters, then your satsang becomes adjusted to the factors of money. It's not pure anymore. I somehow doubt that he would tell anyone to give satsang and charge money, because he was so opposed to this himself, and whenever he was asked in satsang, even the business of just leaving a donation, he'd say no. As soon as you become dependent on money, then some element of corruption comes in, and it's not pure satsang anymore. His own approach to his satsangs was that anyone could invite him to their country, their town. They would have to pay for his ticket, they would have to accommodate him while he was there. If any room or hall had to be rented, the person who did the inviting would have to pay those expenses. He would go there, he would sit, and no one would be asked to give money or to give a donation while he was there. Those were his conditions. I will come to your town, your country, I will give satsang, but if you want this to happen, you must pay all the expenses, and no one must ever be asked to pay to come and see me. However, he did draw a distinction between personal satsang, in which he would sit, or anybody would sit and give the teachings, and selling books of the teachings. I know this because when The Truth Is came out, Prashanti, who did the editing, I think he wanted it to be sold at cost price, or maybe even subsidized. And what was the other man involved? The publisher. I can't remember. Anyway, they came and they had this meeting with Papaji, and Papaji said, no. If you make a book, you have to pay a publisher. Bookstores have to take a commission. The commission is a certain percentage of whatever price is on the cover. You can't have a book and not charge money for it. A book is a piece of commercial property. A distributor, a bookseller has a slice of the pie, and you must have a cover price that covers everybody's costs, otherwise nobody will sell it and distribute it. So he did encourage people who wrote books about him to have a cover price that was a realistic market price, so that everybody involved, the distributors, the sellers, could make some money, because if you don't do that, the book doesn't get into people's hands. But with regard to personal satsangs, every time, in my opinion, or in my experience, he was asked, he not only said money shouldn't be charged, he was very much opposed to it. I can't say he did or didn't say this to this person charged. All I know is that I sat there for 4 years. This question came up fairly regularly, and on each occasion he always made a disparaging comment about people who charged money. The only, there's one, it's not really an exception, it's a slightly different case. We sat through 2 horrific Lucknow summers with him. It gets up to 45 degrees without air conditioning. We just had fans. You put 100 people in a room. We were all, in those days, the building was always too small for the number of people who wanted to see him. So imagine when it's 45 degrees outside and there's 100 people squashed shoulder to shoulder inside, it's going to get quite hot. Plus you might get a power break in the middle. Definitely uncomfortable. So the manager of Satsang, Bhavan, stood up after Satsang one day and said, we have a proposal to install air conditioning for this summer. We're not demanding payment. Anyone who would like to make a donation to cover the cost of the air conditioning, give the money, and if we get enough money, we'll all have air conditioning and we won't sweat so much this summer. So the next day, somebody wrote a letter saying, on several occasions, we've heard you say, don't go to satsangs where they ask for money. yesterday your manager stood up and said, we'd like to have air conditioning by donation. What do you think about this? So Papaji said, it's the same as travelling on the train. He said, you can travel uncomfortably or you can travel in comfort. He said, and it's entirely up to you. If you want to go first class AC, then you pay a lot more money than going sleeper class, and that's your choice. He said, I'm going to come here every day and sit here, whether there's air conditioning or not. I'm not asking for air conditioning. If you want to be comfortable, then you can all get together, buy yourself an air conditioning unit, sit there in comfort for the summer, but don't tell people that I'm going to sit here and sweat all summer if there's no air conditioning, and if there is, we'll all be comfortable together, but that's your choice. If you want it, you pay for it. I'm not asking for it. So that was the only occasion when somebody stood up in satsang and said, we'd like to upgrade the facilities by donation. Somebody asked Papaji and said, that's your choice. You can sit here and sweat, or you can sit here and be cool, and that's your decision.